Welcome guys to my video lecture series. Yesterday we had started with genetic code part, okay, and we had seen about how different scientists basically form the genetic code and how the genetic code, okay, it is basically made up of 64 codons. So we did that yesterday. So it's very important to remember that the genetic code is made up of 64 codons, and also very important to remember that each of these codon is a triplet. And what is the meaning of triplet? Triplet means that each codon is made up of 3 nucleotides, correct? So we had studied this yesterday. Now today we are going to start with the next part, which is very important from your board exam point of view, and that is about characteristics of genetic code. Okay, so we are going to start with that part, and we are going to see the different characteristics. Okay, so the next part is characteristics of genetic code. Okay, so now there are 10 characteristics which are given in your book. Actually there are 9 only. One character they have repeated twice. Okay, now this question is normally asked in boards like this, that give any 2 or give any 3 characteristics of genetic code, or if it is a bigger question they might ask you for 4 or 5 characters. Okay, so we are going to start with each character one by one, and we are going to see how the characters are shaping up. Okay, so coming to the first character. Okay, the first character is now the studying the order of characteristics is not very important. You can write any character first. Okay, so the order which is given in the book, you don't need to follow that. You can write it in any order. Anyway, the first characteristic is that genetic code is a triplet. Okay, now this is a very simple characteristic because it is self-explanatory. So what is a genetic code? Now genetic code is again this thing which we had studied yesterday. This is your genetic code, and all the codons if you see over here, they are made up of 3 nucleotides. So that is what this characteristic is explaining, that all the codons are basically triplets. So it is a very easy self-explanatory point. Okay, none of them is a doublet, none of them is a singlet. Coming to the second point. Okay, the second point or character given is that genetic code has a distinct polarity. Okay, now what is the meaning of polarity? Polarity is a direction. Okay, so if you remember, normally the direction in which we read DNA or RNA, it is 5 to 3 prime. So if suppose if this is your mRNA, then this is 5 prime to 3 prime, then we will always read it from this. So that is what this point is saying. Distinct polarity matlab it is read only in one direction. It will not be read from 3 prime to 5 prime. If the codon over here is GCA, then this codon will always be read as GCA. It will not be read as ACG. So distinct polarity means that the genetic code is always read only in one direction, that is from 5 prime to 3 prime. Clear? Now coming to the next point, the third point. The third point says that the genetic code is non-overlapping. Now this is an interesting point. What is the meaning of non-overlapping? Okay, so once again let us draw an mRNA over here so that you understand what is non-overlapping. Okay, and suppose this is the sequence. This correct? Now what is the meaning of non-overlapping? It is very simple. When you are reading this from 5 prime to 3 prime, okay, first you will read this codon. This is your start codon. Then you will read this codon. Then you will read this. Then you will read. So you are basically reading one codon at a time. Is that correct? Okay, and finally you have this stop codon. Now suppose if you read this entire sequence in this way, just imagine if I am reading the first one as AUG, then suppose if I am reading as UGG, then third I am reading as GGG. Suppose if I read it like that, okay, see here I have kept a distance after each codon so that you can clearly understand that it is a triplet. But in reality, there is no distance, they are all continuous. So what if I read it like this, AUG, then UGG, then GGG? That means if I am saying AUG and UGG, that means U is overlapping in AUG and UGG. Similarly, when I say UGG and GGG, that means this G is overlapping. But is that the way we read it? No. So it is never overlapping. If we compare this and these two codons, then no nucleotide is overlapping. ऐसे नहीं है कि इधर का ये G है वो ये दोनों में शेयर हो रहा है, नहीं है. If it is being shared, then it will be overlapping, but genetic code is never overlapping, so that point is over there. If it would have been overlapping, then I would have written the codons like this. First would be AUG, second would have been UGG, third would have been GGG, fourth would again have been triple G, then fifth would have been GGC. So this is called as overlapping when you are keeping the same nucleotide and sharing it between same codons. But this is not the case, so it is non-overlapping. All of them are individual. Is this clear? Okay. So that is the third point. That is the third character which is given. Okay. Now the fourth character is that genetic code is commaless. Now this is very easy point. Basically, when you are writing a codon, okay, you do not put commas between the nucleotide. Okay, when you write AUG, do you put commas? No. Even when you are representing the mRNA, you do not put a comma, so it is commaless. Okay, simple point. Okay, so that is your fourth characteristic. Now coming to the fifth characteristic, genetic code is universal. What do you understand by this? Now what does universal mean? See, this chart which you have studied, which we have studied, this chart is common for all organisms. It is not going to be different for prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So if I say that in humans, this GGG codon codes for glycine, then this same GGG codon will code for glycine in any other organism. That other organism will not have a different codon. So this is a universal chart. Just like scientific names are universal, similarly this chart is common for all organisms. Okay, so you don't need a different chart for different organisms. So genetic code is universal. So are these 5 points clear? These are very easy 5 points. Okay, you don't need much explanation for them. So now let us just go ahead. Okay, now the next point. Now point number 6 and point number 7 are important. Okay, please listen to what I am trying to say clearly. Point number 6 says that I am writing the entire sentence here. The genetic code is non-ambiguous. Now what is the meaning of ambiguous? Ambiguous is something which means confusion. Okay, for example, suppose if I say that, suppose if a student asks a question and there is no proper answer to that question, or suppose if there is an MCQ asked in the exam and suppose it is having two options which are correct, so that means that that question is ambiguous, that there is a confusion on what is the answer. So ambiguous is something which is confusing, there is no clear solution to it. Now what does this point say? This point says that genetic code is non-ambiguous, that means it is non-confusing. Now over here what they are trying to say is, they are basically trying to explain that one codon can form only one amino acid, or rather one codon will code for only one amino acid. Okay, for example, if I take the codon AUG, then that codon will only code for amino acid methionine. It will not code for any other amino acid. If I take the example of GGG, then GGG will only code for glycine, it will not code for any amino acid. So this is straightforward. One amino acid will code for, one codon will only code for one amino acid. If you want, I can again show it over here. See, my first example was AUG, which is over here, and as you can see that AUG, this AUG is coding only for amino acid methionine. It is not coding for any other amino acid. Similarly, GGG, if you see over here, it is only coding for glycine. It is not coding for any other amino acid. So this rule, which states that one codon can code for only one amino acid, this is also called as non-ambiguous. Matlab straightforward. One codon, one amino acid. Is this clear? There is no confusion. Going to the next point, okay, which is point number 7. So I hope this point is clear. Point number 7 is this same thing which I had written. One codon is one amino acid, but now I am writing it ulta. Just pay attention. So the 7th point is genetic code is degenerate, or it is also called as degeneracy of genetic code. What is the meaning of degenerate? Degenerate means that, now just see how I am writing this statement. One amino acid can be coded by more than one codons. Okay? One codon will only code for one amino acid, but one amino acid can be coded by more than one codons. Okay? Again, let us have a look at the chart. If we talk about glycine, then glycine can be coded by all these 4 codons. Similarly, if we take the example of threonine, then threonine THR can be coded by all these codons. If we take the example of leucine, leucine can be coded by these codons and even these two. So this is called as degeneracy. Okay. So when we are saying that one codon can only form one amino acid, that means it is non-ambiguous. When I say that one amino acid can be formed by more than one codon, it is called degeneracy. So point number 6 and 7 are complementary points. Very, very important to understand this. People don't understand this, they by heart and then they don't remember. So non-ambiguous means straightforward, one codon, one amino acid. Degeneracy means one amino acid, more than one codon. Clear? Now in the book, in this point number 7, so in this point, wherever they have given this point about degeneracy, they have basically said that the genetic code follows the wobble hypothesis. Okay, now this is some different hypothesis that is given in your book. Okay, what is wobble hypothesis? Now this hypothesis was given by Crick, that same person, FCH Crick. Okay, the person who discovered the double helix along with Watson. So what does the wobble hypothesis say? Now pay attention, I will explain this hypothesis. It has, and this hypothesis is the reason why we say that one amino acid can be coded by more than one codons. Okay, now what is this hypothesis? I hope everybody remembers the structure of tRNA. Okay, tRNA, there is a 5' end over here, there is a 3' end over here. These are the loops. This is the D loop, which is DHU. This is the T loop, which is the T-Cy-C loop, and here there is the anticodon and here is the variable arm. What is important over here is this. Now this is called as anticodon loop. Anybody remember what is anticodon? So anticodon has also got 3 nucleotides which are complementary to your codons on the mRNA. Okay, so suppose if your mRNA is AUG, then the tRNA transfer RNA function is that there is an amino acid attached over here on the 3' end, and it brings this amino acid and this tRNA attaches to the codon. So if the first tRNA comes and it attaches to the start codon AUG, then the sequence over here will be what? Obviously complementary to this, so it will be UAC. Is this clear? Okay. Now what is wobble hypothesis? Please pay attention. Now I am changing the sequence over here and also over here. Okay. Now I am drawing this tRNA. 5 prime to 3 prime. Okay, I am not writing the start codon. Suppose if, okay, chalo, either start codon. Now suppose if I write the next codon as GUU over here, correct? Now tell me which tRNA will attach over to GUU. The tRNA having sequence CAA will attach, correct? Everybody knows this because they are going to be complementary. Now I will also tell you something. The amino acid, okay, which is attached to the tRNA having anticodon CAA, the name of that amino acid is valine. Okay, if you want to confirm, you can see GUU. If you search over here, then where will you go? GUU, valine. Okay, so this is obviously mRNA codon, so we will search with that, and you know that complementary to this sequence is this. So this tRNA will attach over here, correct? Now what if I say that suppose this sequence, which is GUU, instead of GUU, suppose if I write the sequence GUA, then can this CAA attach to GUA? See, if I write CAA over here, then there will be a triple bond between C and G, there will be a double bond between A and U, but this A and A will not bond because they are not complementary. So here what happens is, this third nucleotide pair, okay, so anticodon third nucleotide is A and codon third nucleotide is A, this sequence I have written over here. So these two will not pair, but still what will happen is this nucleotide, this tRNA will attach to this codon. This is called wobble hypothesis. What is the meaning of wobble? Wobble means to shake, something which is unstable. Imagine if there is a chair, the chair has 4 legs, and out of the 4 legs, one of the legs is slightly loose. And if you sit on the chair, what will happen? The chair will not fall, but it will shake. So because this third bond is not present, because of these two bonds, the tRNA will still remain attached. Okay, this is the tRNA which I am drawing. This tRNA will still remain attached, but it will shake. Similarly, if this sequence GUA is not there, and suppose if the sequence instead of GUA, it is suppose GUG. Now also if you see, these two will base pair, but A and G cannot pair up, but still the tRNA will attach. So what I am trying to say is that how many codons can attach to this anticodon which is having CAA? See, there are 4 codons which can attach. The original codon was GUU, which will attach completely. GUA will not attach completely, the last base pair will not attach. GUC will also not attach completely because C will not pair up with A. And GUG will not attach because A will not pair with G. So this, when you are using, this is not called wobble hypothesis because this is everything is pairing up properly, AU, AU, CG. But when these 3 codons are present, still the third nucleotide is not matching, but still the tRNA will attach. That is called wobble hypothesis. So now do you understand? This valine amino acid can be coded by 4 codons, GUU, GUA, GUC and GUG. And that is the same thing which is shown over here. See, your valine, where is it? Over here. GUU, GUC, GUA, GUG. So now can you understand why one amino acid can be coded by more than one codon? It is because of this wobble hypothesis. Wobble means that the third nucleotide of anticodon and third nucleotide of codon will not pair up, but still because of the previous connections or previous bonds in the first and second nucleotide of the anticodon and codon, the tRNA is still remaining attached, but it is shaking. Okay, so that is called wobble. So any of these codons can code for valine. Please remember, valine can only be brought by this tRNA having CA. This sequence will not change. Otherwise you will say, what if I change this? No, tRNA will always remain the same. So if the amino acid is valine, the tRNA will always have this sequence only. Only the codon's last nucleotide can change. Some people ask me, Sir, can Wobble hypothesis happen if the first pair is not matching, the next two are matching? No, it will not happen. The rule is in Wobble hypothesis, the first two nucleotide of anticodon and codon should match. Only the third, if it doesn't match, it is okay. So are you understanding this hypothesis? This hypothesis was given by Crick, and this explains degeneracy, which also says that one amino acid can be coded by more than one codon. Okay, so I took some time over here because your book doesn't explain this Wobble hypothesis. They have given it, so I explained it to you. So I think that part is clear. Now coming to the next points, very simple point. Point number 8 is that genetic next point says that genetic code has initiation. I will write down into bracket start and terminating. Into bracket I will write down stop codons. So what does this mean? Very simple. Genetic code, each mRNA will have a start and stop codon. You know this. This is your mRNA. Here there will be AUG which is start, here UAA or UGA or UAG which will stop, here 5 prime, here 3 prime. So every mRNA, see, basically all the codons are present on mRNA. So when we are talking about genetic code is the sequence on the mRNA only. All those codons are present on mRNA. So it always has a start, which is the initiating codon, and stop, which is the terminating codon. Translation starts over here, stops over here. So you know this, correct? So that is the 8th point. And the last point that we are going to see is basically going to be that genetic code has codon and anticodon. So you know what is codon, what is anticodon. I have already explained. Codon is present on mRNA and anticodon is present on tRNA. Please remember, anticodon is also called as NODOC because it is complementary. So CODON, NODOC. I think I have taught you this in 11th. So anticodon is also called NODOC, NODOC. So obviously genetic code has codon and anticodon. So these are the 9 points. Now which is the 10th point given in your book? They have repeated that universal wala point. Okay, so that has been repeated. So there are total 9 points. Clear? So I hope these 9 points are clear to you. Okay, so if we want to revise, what are the 9 characters? First character is that genetic code is a triplet. Second character is that genetic code has a particular polarity 5 prime to 3 prime. Third is it is non-overlapping. Codons will not overlap each other. Fourth is commaless, no commas. Fifth is universal. Sixth is non-ambiguous, one codon, one amino acid. Seventh is degeneracy, explained by Wobble hypothesis. One amino acid can be coded by more than one codon. Why? Because Wobble hypothesis mein third nucleotide need not always bond. Even if they are non-complementary, it is okay. It will shake a bit, but the tRNA will bring the amino acid. I gave the example of valine. Okay. 8th point was genetic code has start and stop codons, initiator and terminator codons, and 9th is each one has codon and anticodon. Is this clear? Okay, so that part is there. Okay, and now we will go ahead. So we have completed characteristics of genetic code. Now the next part given in your book is about mutations. So the next part heading in your book is mutations and genetic code. Okay, how mutations affect genetic code. First of all, what are mutations? We have already studied this. Mutations are change in sequence of nucleotide, correct? So again, let us just draw an mRNA over here, correct? AUG. Okay, I am writing any sequence. See, I just want to basically write. Okay, I will rub this off so that there is space, and here I will write UAA, and this I will expand, and this will become 3 prime. So I am just writing any codon that comes to my mind. Stop codon, start codon. Now, what is mutation? suppose if I remove this G from here, okay, I delete this G, then what happens is this is called as deletion. Now if I delete this G, okay, suppose if I delete two G's, what will happen is this, when I read from 5 to 3, how will I read it? Just see. Now the first frame is going to be this AUG. Now these two have been deleted, so the next frame is going to be GCC. The third frame is going to be CUU. The fourth frame is going to be UAA, and so on and so forth. Obviously, I have completed the sequence over here. This is not a small sequence, it will be having many nucleotides. So what is happening because of this? Okay, this is called as frame shift mutation. Okay, so first of all, what I did here was I am giving you the example of deletion. So what I have done is I have deleted nucleotides, and because of deletion, what happened is the original frame, which was AUG, GGG, CCC, UU, that frame shifted ahead. So frame matlab when I am taking that sequence, when I am taking that entire sequence together, that frame shifted ahead. So this is called frame shift mutation. Okay, now this word had come and I told you I'm going to explain it later on. Crick proved that codons are triplets based on the frame shift mutation. So you understand what is frame shift mutation. Again, if suppose I draw an mRNA, okay, 5 prime, 3 prime. Now just see, now I am taking the example of addition. Okay, so I am doing AUG. Now I am adding two bases. I am adding addition. So because of mutation, two nucleotides extra have been added. Suppose I add CC, and then again I write this same thing. So GGG, CCC, original, UUU, AAA, and UAA. Correct? So now in addition, these two have been added. Again there is a frame shift. How there will be a frame shift? Now just see, AUG will be the first thing. Then next will be CCG, third will be GGC, fourth will be CCU, UUA, and so on and so forth. So again the frame has shifted. What was the original frame? The original frame or the original sequence of the mRNA was AUG, GGG, CCC, UUU, AAA, and UAA. But because of deletion or addition, because of removal or addition of nucleotides, what happened was the frame or the reading reference got shifted, and that is why whenever there is mutation, there is addition or deletion of nucleotides, there is something which is called as frame shift mutation which occurs. So I am going to write that down over here. These are the two causes of frame shift mutation. The frame is basically shifting. Okay, the reading frame, which was originally this, it is shifting ahead or it is shifting back because of deletion or addition. Is this clear? So what are mutations? They are changes in the nucleotide, so they change the genotype. Now you will say, then what will be the difference if the frame changes? Very simple. Now if we take this original mRNA, if we are talking about the amino acids which are going to be translated, AUG will form methionine, GGG will form glycine, you know that. Now because of deletion, first will be methionine, second will be GCC. Let us check out what is GCC. So G is over here, C is over here, C is over here. Now it is ALA, alanine. So instead of glycine, because of mutation, the amino acid formed over here is alanine. So I will write down the amino acid over here. Methionine is over here, and over here it is glycine. But because of deletion over here it is methionine and here it is alanine. Let us check this out. Here it is methionine. These two are added, so it is CCG. So let us see what is C, C, and G. It is proline. So over here it is proline. So can you see, totally different amino acids are being formed because of mutation. Now, if your body only wants to form methionine and glycine, and if it forms this and this, then it will not be beneficial to your body. Okay. If it is a neutral mutation, what do you mean by neutral mutation? Suppose over here instead of GGG it becomes GGA. Suppose if the mutation is only this, that GGG becomes GGA, but still if you see over here GGA is coding glycine only. So even though there is mutation occurring, instead of GGG there is GGA, but still glycine will only be formed. So your amino acid will be same. So that mutation is called neutral because it is not making any difference to you. It is not neither harming you nor it is advantageous. Clear? So I was just giving an example. Is this clear? Deletion, addition, how they are causing frame shift. I have given examples of 2 nucleotides added or removed. You can also take the addition of a single nucleotide. Normally, when mutation is caused only by a single nucleotide, here I am showing 2 nucleotides. There may be more also. But if mutation is caused only by a single nucleotide, then the mutation is called as a point mutation. Let us take the example. Okay, so again 5 prime 3 prime. Now if I say AUG, correct? Now suppose this GGG, suppose if I add A and then I do GGG, CCC, UUU, AAA and UAA. Now I have added only this one single nucleotide. So mutation caused due to addition or insertion or removal of only one nucleotide. See, if only one nucleotide is causing mutation, removal, addition, anything, then it is called as a point mutation. So what is a point mutation? A point mutation is a mutation caused only due to one nucleotide. If I show that the mutation is because of more than one nucleotide, it will not be called point mutation. Again, point mutation will also cause frame shift. You know that because again when I am reading, the frame originally is AUG GGG. Now the frame will become AUG AGG. So it is going to cause frame shift. Can you give me an example of any mutation which will not cause frame shift mutation? Can you think of any mutation which is not going to cause frame shift? Okay. See, I will show you this. Again, the same thing. Okay. 5 prime, 3 prime. AUG. Now, if I am adding, if the mutation is addition, but I am adding 3 nucleotides, any 3 if you want, I will add A, C, C, and then I write down the same thing, G, 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 C, 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 U, 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 A, 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 and U, A, A. Now, will there be a frame shift over here? There will be no frame shift. Why? Because a triplet has been added. So it will be just that there is an extra amino acid, because the frame is still going to be original only, AUG. This is an extra frame, but that is okay. The next frames are going to be same, GGG, GGG, CCC, CCC, again UUU, UUU, AAA, and this. So this is not going to cause a frame shift. So when will frame shift not occur? Frame shift will not occur when 3 nucleotides are added between 2 codons. Suppose if this is added in between this codon, then there will be frame shift. Suppose if between A and U, if ACC is added, then obviously there will be frame shift. But here I am adding these 3 nucleotides in between these 2 codons, so that will not result in frame shift, because all these reading frames are going to be the same. So AUG is going to form methionine, GGG will form glycine, the order will be same. The only difference is there is ACC over here, so we will see ACC. So threonine will be formed, that is just one extra amino acid. It is mutation, but it is not going to change the order of all the other amino acids. Is this clear? So all this has been discussed in the part mutation and genetic code. Is this clear? Okay. So what have we studied till now? We have basically studied the characteristics of genetic code. Then we have studied about mutations and genetic code. Okay, I hope you have understood what is a frame shift mutation. Frame shift mutation is when this reading frame of a codon will shift, and because of that the original codon which you are reading, that will change into something else because the frame has shifted. For example, if I add something over here, then this, suppose I add A, then the frame will be AGG, then it will be GCC. You know that is frame shift. It can occur because of addition or deletion of more than 3 or less than 3 codons. If I insert 3 nucleotides, sorry, not codons, nucleotides. If I insert 3 nucleotides in between 2 codons, there will be no frame shift. Frame will remain the same, reading frame. Point mutation is because of only one nucleotide. It can be anything, insertion, deletion, anything. Can you people give me an example of point mutation? I just remembered we have studied this. So we have been talking about point mutation. Point mutation is the mutation when there is a change only in one nucleotide. Do you remember? Now if you don't know this, then there is a sequence called GAG, this codon. Okay, this is the codon on the mRNA, correct? And this attaches to the tRNA, which is CUC. Okay, so this is the anticodon which is on the tRNA. So I will write down over here. This is the anticodon and this is the codon, correct? Now if you see GAG, let us check what is GAG. So G over here, A over here, G. So GAG is glue. Glue is glutamine. So this mRNA causes this tRNA to bring the amino acid glutamine. Okay, so iske upar attached rahega glutamine. Okay, so this codon codes for glutamine. Now this example which I am giving is about sickle cell anemia. In people who are normal, who have normal blood, they have this codon. Whereas people who are suffering from sickle cell anemia, it is a point mutation, because what happens is this GAG, there is a mutation in A, there is a substitution mutation in which GA gets converted into GUG. So A gets substituted by U. So it is also a mutation. Now tell me, if GUG is present, what will happen is there will be no wobble hypothesis because this last base has not changed. Now the tRNA which will attach over here will be CAC. Okay, and if you see GUG over here, where is G over here, G over here, G. So GUG is valine. So this tRNA is going to bring valine amino acid along with it. So people who are suffering from sickle cell anemia, instead of producing glutamine, they are producing more valine. See, valine is also produced, but this codon, its function is to produce glutamine in normal people. But because of a mutation in this single nucleotide, A gets mutated to U. It is a substitution mutation. A gets substituted, and because of that the amino acid is changing. So in sickle cell anemia, valine is produced more. Is this clear? So sickle cell anemia is the best example of point mutation. This is given in your book. I don't think they have given this example, but please remember that GAG is the codon in normal people. People who are suffering from sickle cell, they have GUG. Okay, is this clear? Okay, now there were some points which I forgot to mention in the last lecture. The next part is tRNA as an adapter molecule. I'm going to teach you that next time. I just want every one of you to revise tRNA. I want you to remember the same thing is given over here, so it becomes easier for you. But I am going to take that in the next lecture. Anyway, coming to this lecture, I'll just rub this off. So first thing that I forgot to mention when I was teaching transcription is that transcription occurs in the G1 and G2 phase. Okay, so you know about the cell cycle. Okay, the cell cycle, suppose if I draw it like this, then this is the mitosis phase in which there is prophase, correct? There is metaphase, correct? There is anaphase, and there is telophase, cytokinesis. And the other three phases present are, which are those phases? G1 phase, S phase, and G2 phase. These three phases are also called as interphase, you know that, and this is your entire cell cycle. Where does transcription occur? Transcription only occurs in G1 and G2 phase, not in S phase, because in S phase the DNA itself will replicate. So transcription occurs only in G1 and G2, and I think one of the students had asked me that, so does that mean that it occurs in the cell cycle? See, what is a cell cycle? Cell cycle is basically the life of the cell. The cell will start from here. By the time it ends the cycle, there will be 2 copies. So entire life of the cell is only called cell cycle. So transcription, replication, translation, everything will occur inside the cell cycle only. Okay, that is one thing. Second thing that I wanted to tell you is, if I change the nucleotide sequence of the original mRNA, will it cause mutations? Will it cause different amino acids to be formed? Obviously, it will cause different amino acids to be formed. So, if your original mRNA, okay, is, I am just writing a very easy sequence over here so that it is not, suppose if the entire sequence over here is G, so it is GGG, then GGG, GGG and GGG, correct? Suppose if I change the sequence of codons, suppose if I take this UAA and I transfer it over here, okay, then what will happen is 5 prime, there will be AUG first, then GGG, again GGG, again GGG. Now I am writing UAA over here and then I am writing GGG. What will happen is, now you know what is GGG. GGG forms glycine. So in this case, the amino acid, in this first example, the amino acids form will be, here there will be MET, then there will be glycine, again there will be glycine, again there will be glycine. This will be the amino acid chain formed during translation. Again there will be glycine, and stop codon doesn't code, so stop, this will be the chain form. But now I have changed the order of the codons. What is happening is, over here the amino acid chain form will be MET, glycine, 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 and now there is a stop codon, so it will stop. This GGG will not be formed, because for this to form again you need a start codon, because this has stopped over here, so this will go waste. So unless there is another start codon, till then translation will not occur. So if you see, between these two polypeptide chains, the amino acid sequence is slightly different. One glycine is missing. So the order of nucleotides on the mRNA are going to decide the amino acid sequence form. Okay. So this thing was also given in the book. It was given below the complementarity principle. So I had missed those parts. So we have completed characteristics of genetic code and mutation and genetic code. Next time we are going to start with tRNA as adapter molecule, and we are going to start with translation. Now translation is slightly a longer lecture, so next lecture might be short. I will just concentrate on tRNA, and we might revise on transcription and this genetic code part, okay, and then separate lecture for translation. Okay, so that is it for today's lecture. For all the NEET students, again a reminder, send me your doubt MCQs. Okay, we are going to have a live lecture tomorrow on discussion of those MCQs. Those who have not solved, I'm not going to take a separate lecture for you, so please send me your doubt MCQs today itself or till tomorrow morning, so I can compile them and give a live lecture. Any doubts regarding this or the previous video lectures, please let me know. And guys, please give your feedback in the comment section. Okay, the video type has been slightly changed. If you can see, I have added my personal video so that it becomes easier or it becomes interesting for the students. So please keep on giving me feedbacks on the channel or even in WhatsApp if it's possible. And the homework questions I will be giving on the group. Okay, so thanks a lot.